There are so many topic requests that I am really looking forward to exploring with you and thinking through out loud. And I think that there will actually be multiple additions and kind of angles that we can approach these conversations. And what's interesting is some of the trends, well, I mean, it's interesting and then also not at all surprising, right? Because it's a reflection. So years ago, when I started Uptime Empires, I was talking a lot about lowering the freaking bar, right? And just like, let's stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to be doing, have all the things all at once without support. I mean, I don't know that we ever like literally did that, but even if we weren't consciously doing it, it was kind of the driving force. Like, if it is to be, it's up to me and I have to do all the things. And of course that leads to burnout. And so the message back in the day was lower the freaking bar. And then 2020 happened, pandemic, lives shifted in major ways. And collectively, we were kind of forced to lower the bar like together, because everyone, well, even people who weren't used to working from home with their kids, obviously lots of people had that experience now. Lots of people could relate to the wardrobe mullet that I've been talking about for years. I've been working from home in pajama pants with a cute top since 2011, or no, 2011, 2008 actually, because that's when I started teaching, yeah, online. So since 2008, I've been living this life. But now so many more people have woken up to this experience of working from home, and then especially having little ones and working from home. So it seems like, whether we wanted to or not, lots of people had the experience of like, okay, well, let's just surrender what I cannot control, serenity prayer style, and just really let that go. But what's interesting to me is that the conversation is now making a turn, kind of like on the spiral staircase, and we're just going to keep going back and keep going back. Each time we're visiting these lessons over again, we have a little bit more altitude and a little bit more perspective. But what's interesting and fun for me to see is a conversation about lifting the bar back up. Like, okay, great, I dropped it, I dropped the bar completely, it rolled away. It rolled away out of reach perhaps, and now I'm ready to pick it back up. And again, there's going to be people still at every stage of this journey, because I've been on my own. And again, I see it as a spiral, it's not a line. I see it as like a spiral that's actually going up. But even if sometimes you feel like you're sliding back down like a game of Chutes and Ladders. So I hear you, and I am you. And the reason why you're saying this, I believe genuinely, is because like we're here to reflect these ideas and help each other on the journey or whatever. So whether you're in a season of, oh my gosh, I wish I could lower the bar without everything freaking falling apart, you might be at that stage. I've been there, and I hear you. Or you might be at the stage of, no, seriously, it's time for me to pick this freaking thing back up. But I just don't know, like, do I need gloves? How much weight should I have on it? Like, do I have the right shoes and back support? Should I get one of those Velcro belts? Like, you might be at that stage. So that would be my first question for you in this message is, where do you see yourself on that spectrum? Like, are you looking to kind of get things back going with your business creatively, or are you actually looking to slow things back down? Because I hope you know by now, I don't believe that there's a right or wrong. It's just like, what's actually real and true for you right now, and then how can we rally based on the resources and energy and all that you have to design things the way you want. That's the point. On her terms living. It's like, who are you really in this moment? What do you actually want and desire and care about? And then what are you currently willing and able to do about that? And that's it. Like, that's our baseline. And I'm not interested in trying to persuade you one way or the other. I'm just here to be the advocate to help you hopefully have a really honest conversation with yourself, or me if you want to. PS, at some point, if I don't already have the link there, I will include a link to an application if you would actually love my pro support in having these honest conversations with yourself, and you appreciate a talking mirror and a word nerd like me who can help you process and guide through these conversations, because I have been through them so much with myself and with my clients and with my friends. It's a journey. It's not a destination. So anyway, all that to say, on lowering the bar, picking it back up, testing different heights just to kind of see how things go. I'm just curious. This is a pulse check. Literally, I'm doing that on my neck. You can't see me because this is just audio, but it's a pulse check to kind of see where you're at. And specifically, what are your challenges with where you're at? If it's about slowing down and letting go, or at least processing the fear of everything that might fall apart if you do slow down, and what if, and what happens then, and blah, 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 and then what, blah, blah, blah. I hear you. Like, let me know so I can actually really hear you. What are the challenges and fears that are coming up for you? And I'm happy to share my experiences with this exact oh-ish, then what, fear. And then likewise, if you're on the swing of picking the bar back up, that's actually the phase I'm currently in right now. After slowing down, I describe it kind of like a ceiling fan, you know, when you hit reverse on the ceiling fan. And so it slows down, down, and then it starts to pick back up to go in the other direction. Like, that's just, and I know I have so much to catch you up on my story of the last several years when I've not been, I know this is still privately communicating unless I make it public one day. But I know I have so much to catch you up on. So if you have questions about things, just let me know, because it's kind of hard to, I can't catch you up on everything at one time. It's just going to be like a reveal over time, layers and layers and layers. But I'm happy to share whatever on my journey of slowing down and like fighting that with almost all that I had, like not being willing to ever really let go. But then also knowing that, like, in the words of Jody Messina, my give a damn was busted, and I couldn't force myself to care about businessy things. It was just not happening. And so the season that I'm in right now, as I'm recording this in April 2022, my youngest, my Noe, is 18 months old, and I can just feel like my capacity and my energy and my desires to be connected with more humans than my inner circle, meaning my family and my close friends, and my, cozy client roster. It's like I can just feel a little bit, not in a major way, again, obviously, because this is private podcast, not just a social media whatever. I still crave that coziness and direct connection, but I can feel my energy and my brainwidth and my bandwidth expanding a bit. So I'm in that season of picking the bar back up and experimenting, as discussed, to see what comes next. I mean, I really do. And this, back in the day, if you've been with me since the early Naptime Empires days, I first put out a type form survey at the no, actually it was probably April, around this time of year in 2016, to be like, okay, I have this concept of Naptime Empires for people with big dreams and little roomies, and I don't know, is it going to be a podcast or a book or like a course of some kind? Although I don't know how, because it's not like it's a step-by-step how to build an awesome Naptime empire. Like, it doesn't lend itself to that kind of content. But I put the feelers out, and then literally within days, hundreds of people had replied, and it to this day is my favorite spreadsheet to go, like, take a stroll, like a long walk on the beach, to take a long scroll through this spreadsheet. I'm just so thankful for the people who took the time. If you were one of them, thank you so much for taking time to be so open and honest with me about where you were at and everything. It was just stunningly meaningful to get that feedback. And that is when I was like, okay, I don't know where this is going to go, but I feel like it's a podcast. And then I'll get my next clue, like The Amazing Race, like a scavenger hunt or whatever. And then you go and then you get your next clue. Once you've taken this step and you've taken this action, then you're going to get your next clue. And that's how I feel about what I'm doing right now, as I'm, air quotes, picking the bar back up. This is the channel, this is the means, path of least resistance for me to communicate with you for now, I think. And then I'm just going to see where it goes. And I feel like my next clue is around the corner in our conversations that we're going to have, because this is me assuming the sale that you're going to respond in the Google form and like talk back to me. I'm hoping and assuming you are actually going to talk back to me, because you can sense that I'm serious and not joking, that I would actually love your feedback and your requests and your thoughts, because I feel like it's this mutual inspiration society. Again, don't know where it's going to go, but that's how I am picking the bar back up. But that is after years of defining and experimenting with what lowering the bar meant for me, detangling my sense of worthiness with my revenue or business performance, air quotes, and all of that. I mean, again, there's so many things that we could talk about. So that's why I need you to talk back to me and let me know what you would like me to go into in more detail. And I'm happy to share. because like I said, I've had this all just cooking over here in private conversations and in notebooks and in call replays and all that. And I just would love to be able to be like, hey, sharing my field notes with you in hopes that it helps you figure out whatever your next step is on your amazing race, whatever might lead you to your next clue. So to recap, if you haven't yet, pop into that link. Let me know. Are you lowering the bar? Are you picking the bar back up? What are your challenges right now? What would you love some, just like to hear my stories from my experiences. Like just tell me things. Tell me things. All right. I'll meet you back here soon. Okay, technically that was the end of the episode, but since you're still here, 1, I'd love to thank you for spending part of your day with me, and 2, I'd love to ask you if you would take 30 seconds, maybe 60, to leave a rating and review in your podcast app before you tap out today. If you've already done that, it's amazing. Please send me a screenshot so I can thank you personally, and know that sharing this episode with a friend has the same magical powers, and I deeply appreciate both. Also, in case you're listening to the end to see if I ever actually introduce myself, hi! My name is Nikki Elledge Brown. I'm the host and author of Naptime Empires and this here On Her Terms podcast. You can find me around the internet at Nikki Elledge Brown in most places, but what you may appreciate most is actually over at onherterms.com. It's what I call the insider library. It's where you can get inside scoop, first listen rights, email updates every time there's a new episode, and then special insider only bonus content. It's all over in our private feed. Okay, that's a wrap for real. I'll meet you in the next episode.